Ha! What's going on, everybody? How you doing? It's a Saturday. I'm taking a nap. Nope. Believe it or not, I am not taking a nap. Olivia is taking a nap. It's the baby nap time, so to those of you that are live right now, a couple minutes late, dealing with some baby issues. She was like, I don't want to take a nap. And then I was like, you should take a nap. And then she was like, I don't want to. And I was like, but you should totally. And then she was like, okay. So all is good. All is well. It's a beautiful Saturday out here where it should be upwards of 1,000 degrees Celsius outside today and tomorrow. I am guessing that it's the middle of August in the year 2020. What is this? Is this the hottest year on record? I'm not sure. Though I am sure, I think like the last 8 out of 10 years are all the hottest years ever. So, yeah, we should probably take that into account. I did see a thing that said Phoenix, Arizona has had like, what was it, over 38 days of over 100 degrees already, which is insane. But either way, or maybe it was like in a row. Maybe it was in a row. I don't know. But either way, we're doing the Saturday stream here where we answer the Patreon questions, comments, complaints, concerns, victories, whatever you want to call them. We do have a community tab on our Patreon page. The Patreon is how we crowdfund being able to make fish tank videos and live streams like this. And I very much appreciate you all for being a part of that. Now we have a community tab in there, so once a week, I take the time to address those posts. And by the way, if y'all don't put any posts up in there, we just don't address them because there's nothing to address. But we do have a bunch of posts this week, so we shall be doing that. And to those that follow along with what is going on in the world, as far as we're concerned out here, let's update our YouTube members real quick. It's 87. We went down. But Daniel Velez became a member 0 days ago, so I'm not even sure. I think that was today. So let's give him a shout out today. Thank you, Daniel Velez. And I would also like to give a shout out to, let's see all here and go click total time as member. Jason R. is our oldest member on YouTube. What's up, Jason? I hope you're around. If you're not, just say, like, what's up, dude? What's up? That's our oldest member on YouTube. And our newest member, Daniel Velez, and tied with the oldest member, because it doesn't give me the exact date, is Daryl Deemer, who also super chatted a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, my guy. I 100% appreciate that. And we shall move on with this portion of the show because it's Saturday. Let's answer some Patreon stuff. Now, I will say the first thing we have here is Alyssa Bentley, who has been a guest on the show, and we do hope to have her back as a guest on the show whenever this pandemic dies down, cools off, whatever you want to call it. We'll be able to get back to regularly scheduled programming or not. Who knows? I don't know what the future is going to bring. I'm doing what I can to keep the lights on. Oh, somebody was asking, why are we doing this on Saturday? As you guys know, we normally do this on Friday. I worked all day yesterday, so I got up at 3 in the morning and left the house, and I got back at 6 p.m. So I don't know how many hours that is or whatever, but a day. I was gone for the whole day working. I was running conduit for electrical and stuff like that. Because we've never we've never combined forces enough to just go 100% independent. You know what I mean? So, got to do the work thing. So that's why we're unable to do that. Back on topic, though. Alyssa Bentley has uploaded this post here. I just swallowed something weird. Hold on. Let me hit my cough button here. I have like the most archaic cough button. There we go. That's better. That's better. I was starting to get... I'd inhaled something. I'm all drinking coffee, chewing gum, and doing a live stream, and inhaled some spit or something. I don't know. Anyhow, but Alyssa has posted this amazing walkthrough here of the Ancestris Claro eggs that she's got going on. We've got days 1 through 4. Here's day 1, 2, 3, and 4. She's got the eggs kept in an air-driven breeder box with some Neocaridina shrimps as nannies. By day 4, you can start to see the eyes developing. As you can see, well, now here's what I don't know. Is this day 1 or day 4? Are they ascending or descending? I thought this was day 1, but we might have this a little bit backwards. That might be day 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, because you... Oh, yeah, there you go. So 4's down here. You can start to see the little eyes developing. It would help if I was on screen. There we go. You can see the little eyes developing down here. Now, here's what even gets cooler with this thread. Here's days 5 through 8. The nervous system and spinal column developing visibly on day 5. First adventurous wriggler on day 6. By day 8, they were all huddled together in the corner, wiggling their tails and important muscles, which does make sense. There you go. There's some up-close macro action zoomed in. You know, I don't know if you guys know this, but I can definitely see some electronic noise here. There's definitely some noise in this image, which normally means this was cropped in via a machine, right? Not a mechanical lens. We might have to work out something to help out with that situation. And then, as you can see, here's the progression down to day 8. You can start to see we got a little bit of a fish happening here. Little tails sprouting out and doing their old fish thing, which is totally rad, man. We got days 1 through 4, days 5 through 8, and guess what? Days 9 through 11. Here you go. Let's read the little caption down here. Days 9 through 11 skipped a day of photos, which I don't think is skipping a day because you go 5 through 8, then 9 through 11, right? 8, 9, 9, 10, 11. Oh, maybe you skip day 12, I guess. From the babies go from rolling around pretty much aimlessly to staying in a tight clump. They start to develop color with still with prominent yolk sacs. Look at that. Oh, my God. I have to admit, this is pretty good. This is pretty darn good documentation. Also, it gives you a real size scale here, as this is a full-grown Neo right here, which, if you've ever been around Neocaridina, that you would have an idea of how big these little tiny eggs are. And then, as you can see, they start to develop down here into these little claroplecos. Totally rad. Cool fish, too, I have to admit. Now, here we go through maybe days 15 through 20. Color darkens, yolk sac gets used up. A tiny piece of boiled zucchini is added, and they finally understand what food is all about. Oh, yeah, here we go. Look, they're all developing already, which... This is one of the amazing things. Like when you breed and spawn some plecos, it's pretty amazing like how quickly they become sort of identifiable as like a small pleco. It really doesn't seem like it's that long. I mean, it's probably a month, and then you got little fishes going around. I'm not sure what the developmental time is between. You know, for instance, like bristlenose plecos to claroplecos, I'm not sure how big the variance is. Nor have I ever really timed mine out this way. I've never really gone to like, oh, here's day 8, take a picture. Mainly just because mine are normally in a aquascape tank. Like, I never take them out. I normally just let them do it in there, but it's always just like, whoa, there's a whole bunch of little placos roaming around. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's kind of the deal, right? I guess I was trying to say, like, yeah, it seems to go quicker than you would think. But I think almost every time I've bred fish, I'm like, how are these guys full grown all of a sudden? And then you remember they're from the wild, where they're going to get eaten if they don't get it together quick. So that's always good to remember. Yeah, definitely some cool pictures. Definitely awesome time progression. I don't want to go on to the next post yet. But I want to say thanks to Alyssa. I want to say spin over to the Patreon if you want a chance. How can I copy the link here? There we go. I guess I'll post the link in here. Control V. Enter. There we go. In case you want to go over to the Patreon and take a look at all of these great pictures right here. This is just such a great time progression. And I personally would like to figure out how to support doing more content like this, even though I'm not somebody who's breeding fish all the time and whatnot. Like, that's not something that I'm doing. So I'm trying to figure out some creative ways to try and piece together more of a team, so we're able to start making some more of this kind of content, but being able to put it on like YouTube and stuff like that. And I know the pandemic's made everything way worse, and I feel like we would have been months and months into evolving something like this into more of that kind of project, but we'll see how it goes. We will see how things shape out here in the near and dear future. Hopefully things continue to improve, which would be difficult for me to even comment on whether or not things are improving in the world or not. It all seems very convoluted at this point, and seems to be the Ayn Rand style of individualism has seemed to taken a grasp on a large part of the American population, at the very least. The individualism has taken hold, so I think I don't know how long this is going to continue. Hopefully not as long, but if you do want to spin by the Patreon and help out, or even just check out those posts, feel free to do that whenever you like. Let me bust into the chat here before I get into Rum Bust's post, which is you'll be able to read it on the screen. If you're able to read that, you'll know why I'm letting it hang there. I'm going to give you guys a chance to read it and take a look and come up with some guesses. But we got Jake D first to the chat, Randall Bowman to the chat second, and Frank Dominguez somehow coming in first via entering third. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue with Frank on that. I would argue with potentially other people, but I'm not going to argue with Frank on that. We just have to, as the reigning champion of firstness, I mean, we all know that Jake was first, right? But sometimes you just got to give props to the champion. You know what I mean? It's like, when you beat the Patriots in the regular season, but they're the champion from the season before. You know, you still got to give them the props because they got that ring, you know, from last year. So it's kind of like that, I think. Even though I'm not particularly fond of the New England Patriots personally. Leadership, ownership is all kind of wacky over there. But you do got to respect the ring, you know what I mean? Okay, quickly followed up by Will M., who was excited to watch live. What's up, Will? William M. Willie I M. Mirdul Singh. Steve Beartich. There we go. I'm saying it correctly now. I'm not saying it the other way. I'm saying it correctly. Lady Guinevere, Chevy Fish, Daryl Deemer, James Shepard. What's up, my guy? Chevy Fish, John McKenzie, Chubbs Aquatics, Nelson Montanez, Turbo Fish, Chubb's Aquatics, which I already said, Groveside Aquatics, Fish Tank Barn, trying to read and not duplicate what's going on. Lumpy Dog, long time no see. Good to see you. And I think I'm caught up. Dave's Aquariums and Dave Friesen. And I think that's everybody. Okay. Groveside Aquarium says, my 3 adult bristlenose died when we had a heat wave and the temperature went up to 26 Celsius, around 77 Fahrenheit. Everybody else was fine, though. That is unfortunate, and I've not seen that personally happen. And I certainly wouldn't think that 77 degrees is too hot for bristlenose. I'd wonder what happened there. I would wonder. I wouldn't think that was necessarily heat related off the top of my head. Like 77 Fahrenheit should be pretty normal, unless. Let's see. Hold on. 26 Celsius. Is that right? 26 Celsius to Fahrenheit. I don't think that's 77. I think that's much hotter. No, it's 78. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't expect that. I mean, I've got my bristlenose are all at between 76 and 78 degrees already. So I don't know why that would be an issue. I don't know. I would definitely look into something else. I don't know if that's a heat wave. I don't know. I don't think I don't think that's where my mind would be if it was like the temperature was 77 or 78 degrees. I wouldn't think it was the temperature that was the issue. Yeah, 26 Celsius is 26 Celsius times 9/5 plus 32. That's difficult to calculate. Yeah, that's the thing. Like Dave says, 77 Fahrenheit seems fine for bristlenose cats. Mine breed at 78, 79. Yeah, I mean, mine are 78 to 76, you know? Like, I think I have the tank set to 76, and sometimes it gets up to about 79. I would not have expected that to be any kind of issue, honestly. Glenn Tookshire is here. What's up, my guy? Always good to see Glenn. He's up on the Discord, so I get to talk with Glenn from time to time because he's on our Discord. So good to see Glenn, but he says he can't stay too long. I don't know what he's up to. He must have some kind of wild project he's working on. He's got the wild devil hands like mine. He's got to keep him occupied. You got to find something to do. All morning today was from 6 in the morning until noon was baby time. Been rocking and rolling, rambling around, playing in the yard, eating quesadillas with my baby. She's just a lovely dynamo. I love her to death. We've already traveled 4 miles on foot. We got our steps in for the day, which means now we don't have to work out anymore today, right? I'm sure we'll do something for sure. But currently right now I'm going to do this live stream while she's napping. And to everybody watching right now that were wondering like, hey, wasn't the book club going to be today? Never fear. The book club will be today. After this live stream, we'll take a break and we'll come back and do the book club thing so people don't get super confused. I got a different thumbnail, different event. I don't want them all to have to fall in line, you know, and confuse people, right? We don't want people to get confused, even though they might already be confused. Who knows? And they might be like, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Book club? What do you mean? We read a book, and I'm going to talk about it on a live stream and see what you guys think. Dave did a bunch of yard work this morning, chips and salsa while hanging out with the Oceaneers. Yeah, speaking of salsa, I legit got Olivia out of her baby chair, and then we were walking stuff back to the fridge. And I'm going to blame it on Olivia, but it is 100% my fault. I dropped the salsa because I was holding the tub of sour cream and salsa. And, normally I can just grab both of them and, like, grab them. But we got the tall container. And so, you got to, like, hold one with the other one, like, sliding around on the top of it, just slipping and sliding on there like some kind of frozen on ice capades thing, and everything was fine. Everything was going swimmingly. We were doing quite well. We were cleaning up our quesadilla mess. And we went to, we came around the corner with the salsa on that, like, ice skating rink of sour cream container. And it shot right off of there, landed on the ground, and shattered. So it shattered and flipped over. So it hit the ground, it exploded, popped open, and did a flip. So it did a double whammy of big blobs of salsa on the ground. The container was completely broken, and it shot out like a rocket and sprayed little bits of salsa all over the kitchen. So I got to tell you, that's some confoundingly stupid stuff that happened while I'm just here being a dad. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to do dad stuff. Vicky is, she's having a ladies' weekend. She's hanging out with her lady friends. That's what she's doing. They went to socially distant hang out in the woods. We have a bit of property in the family. So they went out there to just camp and hang out in the woods by themselves. So that's what they're doing. And I just, just have that moment of being a dad where I just, oopsie doopsie. There's salsa everywhere. But we managed to clean it up. Narrowly averted. Oh my God, I forgot. The best part of being a dad was not only the salsa debacle, but I will say somebody in the backyard left a fresh poop right on the ground. And now the reason I say somebody, because I've eliminated some of the cast of characters, because it wasn't me and it wasn't Olivia, right? So we're going to have to narrow down from the cast of characters here that it was either Mr. Chips or the Biddy Brown. I'm not sure. Or possibly Vicky. Maybe Vicky left a poop out there yesterday. I don't know. Definitely was a dog poop, though, so I don't think it was her. And it was pretty fresh, like it was from this morning. And apparently Olivia decided that she was going to step, like, directly into the turd. Because I legit was like, because Olivia was like, oh, no! Because she legit was like, oh no, like she does that now. And I was like, what happened, because she didn't like fall down or anything, and she's like lifting her leg up all funny and pointing at her foot, and she goes, it's poop. And and when I was a kid, there's this comedian named Bobcat Goldthwait, and I don't know if anybody in the chat here may or may not be familiar with Bobcat Goldthwait. There was a time in the 80s and 90s that Bobcat Goldthwait was typecast as this guy who had this crazy voice and stuff, right? And somebody at some point in time thought, wow, we have a great idea to have Bobcat Goldthwait and rehash Mr. Ed, basically. So it was this movie called Hot to Trot, where there was a talking horse, and Bobcat Goldthwait, Bobcat Goldthwait was the only person that could hear the horse talk, so he was always hanging out with this horse. And there's this point where, I don't really remember the plot. It was just such a stupid movie. I don't really remember the plot. But there was a point where they had to get into a horse race, which is just, I mean, it's a very limited parts of the world where, you could get into a horse race in its own right. You know, like I have to drive all the way up to Auburn to go see a horse race. But anyhow, he gets in this horse race, and there's this line in that movie where he goes, I think I just ate some poop. But it's in that weird, like, Bobcat Goldthwait voice. Now, obviously, I can't play it for you guys because I will get probably a copyright strike and some kind of content ID claim or whatever from the powers that be, internet overlords that want to crush our souls. But that was the line. And if you want to go look it up, my sister and myself probably listened to that one line in our lifetime probably 20,000 times. I mean, I swear, anytime I find a GIF of it, a short clip of it, make a clip, I'll email it to my sister or, whatever. It's just ongoing. And it just literally had me immediately flash back to being a kid laughing about Bobcat Goldthwait. I think I just ate some poop while riding on the horse in the horse race. And, you just start to think of, the circle of life is not solely limited to the Hakuna Matata. It may or may not be solely centralized and revolving around feces somehow, because there's just this strong connection. Like, I've got a baby now. She step in the poop and go, oh, it's poop. Remind me of the I think I just ate some poop line from when I was a kid. It's just a mess. But we got to straight up remember, wait a minute. That reminds me. Did Top Gun 2 come out yet? Top Gun 2. When is this coming out? This was supposed to come out this summer, right? Oh, now it's not coming out until 2021. Well, that makes me, I thought this was supposed to come out in like August or September this year. Top Gun 2 release date. When is Top Gun released? The sequel was originally set for release on July 12th, 2019. What? Before it was hit with a delay of a whole year. Things were looking up, though, if that date was moved forward slightly. How does it move forward slightly one whole year? Oh, my God. So the sequel doesn't even come out until next year. That's right. It was supposed to be out this summer, and I'd completely forgotten about it. Now it doesn't come out until July 2nd, 2021. This sucks. I got to tell you, this pandemic is not going well. We were supposed to have, we're supposed to have all sorts of good things going on in the year 2020. We're supposed to have flying cars. We're supposed to be traveling in tubes. There's all sorts of great things we're supposed to be doing, but turns out we don't get to do any of that stuff. We don't even get to watch Top Gun 2. We don't even get to watch Top Gun 2 Electric Boogaloo. We just don't, which sucks. All right, back to our Patreon posts. Now that I've driven everybody totally insane, I'm sure they hit the dislike button 14 times. It's all good. Rumbus says, long time, no 3D printing. Okay, any guesses on what this is? It is aquarium related, I promise. I'll post the answer next week. And no, you won't win anything for spotting that my printer could do with some tuning or be upgraded altogether. Those sides on the print should be pretty much smooth on a quality printer. Yeah, so this sides here should be smooth. So it should be smooth. The texture doesn't do anything. And I legit am like, there's some kind of hanger attachment going on here. Like this part and this part clasp onto something. They clasp somewhere. And this part goes over here and this part goes over there. And I literally have to be 100% honest with you guys. Rumbus posted this thing 2 days ago, and I legit have been thinking about where does this shape exist? Now, I can see that it's pretty small because here's the grain in the wood. I'd guesstimate the width of this at 4 inches, maybe. So this might be 4 inches by 4 inches, right? And I have to admit, I'm going to feel like a total idiot when he shows us how this is and what this does. But I, for the life of me, cannot envision where this goes. I don't know where it goes or what it goes to. I don't think I've seen it. Alana Suki says, "Yay, I got a package." Me too, but jokes. Not good jokes, bad jokes. It's easy, but you left it hanging out there, you know? Sometimes you just got to go for it, and it's not good. But live stream, I guess. Yeah, I just cannot see where this bracket piece goes in my head. I cannot locate that shape attaching to anything, and I swear I'm gonna feel dumb. I'm gonna feel dumb when he says what that is and what he's using it for. But Dave's Aquarium sends this in. This is a little more on track for something that I can figure out with my brain parts. I didn't see any guesses in the chat other than it's definitely some sort of bracket from James. Daniel Velez says, hello everyone, late to the show. I gave you a shout out earlier, Daniel, for being a new member to the channel. I appreciate it. Which brought us up to 88 miles per hour there, Marty, to generate 1.21 gigawatts so that we can travel back to the future, right? I want to be Doc Brown when I grow up. I'm going to be realistic with you guys. I got to be 100% real with you. I want to be Doc Brown when I grow up. Anyhow, Dave sends this in. The third pair has finally decided to start trying. And if I'm not 100% correct here, I think this is the angelfish. Oh yeah. There's the angelfish butt right there. You can see the back fin, dorsal fin. Okay, cool. I was just like, wait a minute. I thought the fish was posted up above it, so I scrolled up and I was like, but these aren't bristlenose eggs. I know that. And I was like, they look like angelfish eggs. I didn't want to be wrong. I've been wrong about a lot of things lately. Like whether or not Phil Collins, did those Disney songs, and everybody gave me a hard time, and I appreciated it because I deserve it. I was wrong. I was wrong about my Disney trivia. And I feel like such an idiot, sometimes. Anyhow, angelfish eggs, awesome. And then he says, and they seem to like the leaves I could actually remove to try and hatch, which is fantastic. This is the one thing that drives me completely nuts with fish that attach eggs to things like angelfish. And they go and stick them on something that is like an immovable object, and then you got to try and net them out of the tank. And it's like, this isn't going to happen. I'm not going to net these fish out of the tank. Stop putting your eggs onto an immovable object that I can't take out and hatch into another tank. That used to always drive me nuts. I don't really breed fish that much anymore unless they're accidentally breeding, so I don't really do any of that stuff consciously anymore, but that used to drive me completely insane. I love it when they do it on a plant like this because you can just clip the leaf. Take the leaf out and move it on over to a tank so you can hatch them out. Next thing you know, you got boatloads of angelfish, and you got just a whole, you got a new career on your hands of hatching angelfish, and you got to open an angelfish hatchery. You're going to open a fish depot. You're going to be selling fish like crazy. It's fun. I'm just giving you a hard time. But yeah, hopefully, with angelfish, that's always one of the big advantages I've told people is like they spawn a lot. Their eggs are pretty easy to hatch. Raising the fry it's relatively non-invasive to your day-to-day life, right? It's added work for sure, but it's not It's not crazy. You're not doing some crazy amount of work. And if you do have some stores in the area that are wanting something, you can definitely recoup some of your hobby expense. You know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? All right. Yeah, but that's great. Thank you, Dave, for sending that in. I'm so stoked that they're doing well. Now, we've got a post here that is applicable to certain things. And that would be a TARDIS and a bristle nose of the... I don't know what... is this just like a standard bristle nose? I don't know. It seems a little bit darker than the normal bristle nose that I'm used to seeing. Then again, I'm used to staring at my super reds all the time, which are probably... It's like when you go out and if you look directly at the sun with your eyelids closed, like if you're working on your George Hamilton, if you're working on your bronze, you know, and then you open your eyes and everything's all blue, maybe that's what's happening to me, but it's just permanently installed into my brain. That could be happening. You never know. But beautiful fish. Gotta respect people that like Doctor Who. I have seen a lot of Doctor Who. I am a casual fan of Doctor Who. And I was up working this week, and I used my my live tester, which tells you whether or not a circuit is live. And it looks like it's just like it's like an what is it? The electric screwdriver. What does he call his screwdriver? I can't remember the name. Doctor Who. Screwdriver. What does he call it? It just says screwdriver. Doctor Who screwdriver collector set. Sonic screwdriver. That's what it is. It seems like a sonic screwdriver, basically. And somebody was asking me, like, are you Doctor Who? And I thought it was pretty funny. As you can see, we are up to 230 patrons, which is rad, because then we can go and change the number here. 230. Boom. There we go. So that's always a good thing, too. And thank you for people contributing to our Patreon post here. Got us kind of talking about some stuff. And it's always good to see Dave and Alyssa and Rumbust. Fantastic people that have been around for a long time, with kind of following along with the channel. They might not agree with every single thing I've said in my entire life, but a great part of the community, as is Glenn down here. This is Glenn. Glenn had posted that, and he was in the chat earlier. Yeah, so as you guys can see, the community posts definitely coming along, and starting to kind of turn into what I would consider to be a pretty cool archive, I think, at this point, of stuff. Now, what do we do with that archive? I don't know. Someday we'll have to figure out something to do with that archive. But as you can see, we're up to 230 now, which is fantastic, and very much appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I really do. And I've mentioned this on numerous occasions. If people can support, I 100% appreciate it, and I'll do my best to not let you down with producing content. And I know that people get super mad because they're like, dude, stop talking about your thing, like, oh, we get it. And I know there are countless amounts of people that have either said to me in person or behind my back that, oh, man, you're making so much money off your Patreon and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. And if there's a part of this world that I could live off $770 a month with a kid and a mortgage and all of the things that I have to pay for, I would be glad to hear where you can go. Unfortunately, it doesn't cover the entirety of my budget, so we're going to have to just keep continuing on, and I do have to continue doing commercials. So it sucks. I don't know what to tell you. It's just the nature of the beast. But I've never really asked anybody for their last dollar. There's a pandemic going on, so take care of your family first before anything else, and I will do my best to continue booking jobs so that I can just keep the lights on and keep doing what we're doing. Woo! Yeah. Appreciate it very much. Okay. So today is Saturday. We've got probably like 10 minutes left, and I don't see any questions in the chat. I documented and took videos of my peppered quarries from James. Oh, that's rad. Do you have a website for that or anything? That'd be cool. We should, if people have those like real documented, like what happened on what day and some pictures and stuff like that, possibly pop into the Discord and let me know. Because maybe we can start to compile some of that and post it up somewhere. I mean, I don't really do too much with my website anymore. Maybe we can compile them on there, you know. Pear Tree Aquatics says, "Hey, how are you? I'm fairly new to stem plants, and I'm looking to use a sump, a 20 high on a 29 gallon. What would be the optimal flow rate? And will I need to dose for the additional water?" Yes, you'll have to dose for the additional water volume, but just dose to the water volume. Be sure you measure how much more water is going to be in there, because you'll likely just have a total of like 40 gallons or maybe even less, maybe 35, because the sump tank isn't brimming like the display tank. So I would say, yeah, I mean, I have to account for how much water's in my sump, and I dose to that. Although I would say these days I don't do a ton of measuring. I don't do a ton of measuring these days in regards to my dosing. Everything's down to kind of just how many pumps I put in, and it's all kind of a vibe. I just don't go super technical anymore. It's just like, oh, it's Friday, I'm gonna put 5 pumps of this in there and 3 pumps of that or whatever. So people get stressed out, but it's why I use like a comprehensive fertilizer from Aquarium Co-op. It just makes my life a lot easier than it used to be. I can realistically go, oh, hey, this is short on iron, whatever, I'm just going to up my fertilizing. It's very simple. Like, oh, calcium's down, cool, I'm going to add some crushed coral to the sump. No big deal. I try to simplify it because, where I really spend my time is on the number of plants that I'm maintaining. I don't know, it's easily over 100 different species of plants that I'm dealing with right now in 6 different tanks or whatever. I don't even know how many tanks I have right now, but yeah, I try to keep it simple. So if I were you, I would keep it simple that way, and then just get into a rhythm of what you're doing. As far as a flow rate goes, I mean, that's just the basics of, or not the basics, but basically you're going to break it down to what works for your system. So how it's plumbed, the size of the pipes that you put in is going to account for some of that stuff. I use DC pumps nowadays, and the reason for that is that whatever number people are looking for in regards to like a flow rate, because some people will say, 5 times the volume, 10 times the volume, 3 times the volume of the tank, which ends up becoming incredibly difficult for people that don't do head height calculations, like the amount of height that the pump is from the return, right, up into the tank. All that water that's in the pipe will cause the pump to be under more pressure and not allow it to move as much volume. Anyhow, all that stuff gets super confusing, right, to people that don't normally work on that kind of stuff. So my recommendation is to get a DC pump that is essentially oversized for your system. Now, I would say, looking at the pump's prices right now, seems like pump pricing is a little bit high. Let me see if I can't find one that I've used that's not as high as right now. Let's clip through here. Oh, here we go. This is a more reasonable pump that I have. I've had one of these running for over 4 years now. Works fine. Every once in a while, people will tell me, oh, I had that and it malfunctioned, and that is every product. It doesn't matter what product anybody's ever talking about. It's like, Oh, I had a Lamborghini and it malfunctioned. Like, oh, okay, must be crappy product, right? I'm like, no, not the case. Just happens sometimes. Um, but that's what I would consider to be a pretty reasonable pump right there for your size tank. That would be probably oversized, about $60, $50. Um, any more money spent than that is kind of just going to be overkill for a system that small. Obviously, there are much more expensive pumps out there. If you find an Ecotech pump, it's probably $400 or something crazy like that. Which, by the way, I would love to get sponsored by Ecotech to try out some of their equipment. The last time I used some of their equipment was probably 9 years ago or something like that. I'd like to test some of it out, but there's a pandemic, so who knows if anybody's ever going to advertise or sponsor anything ever again. Who knows? But yeah, so hopefully that kind of explains is that, like, just buy an oversized pump that has a controller on it so you can tune it up and down. If you're like, whoa, that's too much flow, you can just push the button, the plus and minus. And that's probably the best advice I can give. I've got a 110-liter tank with 27 different plants in it, and I just go off what the plants look like, keep it simple. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it boils down to. The most plants, algae, that kind of stuff, interactions with your tank will give you, like, oh, here's what I need to do next kind of situation. So that always comes in handy, and is the best advice I can give is just, like, pay attention to what's going on with the tank, what's going on with the plants, what's going on with algae, all that kind of stuff, and it will really give you a good idea on what's happening in the system, and just go from there, and it's the same as, like, if you come home from work and normally your spouse feeds your dog. Let's say you have a couple dogs, and normally your spouse feeds your dogs before you get home from work. But you come home from work and the dogs are dancing around and they're, like, pushing their food bowl around and, like, freaking out like they're hungry for dinner. And you're like, hey, I'm going to use my human-sized brain to go, well, what's going on here? Let's figure this out. Let's see what's happening with these little puppy dogs here. And then you go to your spouse and say, hey, did you feed the dogs? No, you know what? I didn't feed the dogs yet. Well, I utilized my brain powers to deduce that the dogs were acting funny in regards to the food situation, right? Same kind of deal. So if your plants are starting to grow funny, if you're getting weird algae blooms and stuff like that, utilize your brain forces, your brain powers to sort out what's going on, make some changes, use your human strength and power and brains and all that stuff, and sort it out. That's my best advice I can give to anybody out there in regards to anything that is going on. Woo! But yeah, plants will definitely tell you what's going on, just the same as your dogs are hungry kind of deal. So, yeah. All right, man, we got a chill Saturday video live stream here. Only 35 people watching, but Daryl Deemer came in big time with a $10 super chats there. We're going to end it for today and then be back in a little, about 45 minutes. So about 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we'll be returning with the book club. So we'll be talking about some of the excerpts from the book. And hopefully you all read it. If you're not there, you're welcome to be there. It's going to be pretty chill. I'm not going to be going too crazy or anything like that and freaking out on people. Crap, we got a super chat here. Should wait till the super chat runs out. So we'll answer William M. with $5 super chat says, keep being awesome. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will. James Pear Tree Aquatics says, I'm sorry for another question, but I have the opportunity to buy a 20 long that's already been converted into a sump. Think that'd be okay over a high. Yeah, I recommend a 20-gallon long for a sump anyhow. I think I would give that recommendation anyhow over a 29-gallon tall. People get paranoid because they think that a sump is going to flood when the system turns off. Use your human brain to set up the system so when it turns off, the tank down below doesn't overflow. And you just test it out. The reality is, like, it's the easiest thing to test out if you got it right, because you literally just unplug, or even on a DC pump, you just hit feed and it stops the pump. All the water will drain down until it's going to stop. And if the sump tank overflows, you know that you have something set wrong as far as the water goes. More often than not, you need a siphon break on the return, where the return goes into the tank and sprays the water back in there. That's typically where people kind of screw up, and it's like way down into the water, right? So it just siphons water out like you would with a hose. So you need to set it up high enough and then have like a little bit of a break in it. Oftentimes, we'll just drill a little hole in the return pipe itself, which will, once the water drops down, it'll allow air in and break the siphon, and it'll just stop draining down. Or you can even just take, like, if you have the fan type return, which I don't know if I have one here. I thought I had one sitting on my desk. I don't know. Maybe I took it out of here. I thought I had one sitting here, but I probably cleaned up. It's not even clean down here. But a lot of times I'll take one of those and I'll just put it on an angle so that when the water level dips down, it grabs the angle of that return nozzle, and then air goes in there, breaks the siphon. Or like the fish tank barn says, or drill a hole in the return, like I was saying, to break the siphon. Yeah. Thanks for the stream. Thanks, mods and super chatters from Chevy Fish. Everyone stay safe. Yeah, everybody got to stay safe. But we had that extra super chat, so I figured maybe I'll answer that. It's all about being in tune and sort of knowing where it's going to go. If you look too far into things and listen to everybody, it won't work. Yeah, I mean, read a few books, listen to some of the people that you like that are making things that you like, and then just go slow, experience it, and you'll be fine. You know, just write down. If you can't remember in your brain head, you write it down on a piece of paper. Your retention's going to be, I think, like 4 times better if you're writing it down. So write stuff down, then you'll remember, and eventually it'll just become a normal thing that you do, you know. Like, you don't have to actively think about brushing your teeth, right? You just know how to do it now. But when you're 2, you got to think about, how do I brush these teeth? Yeah. All right. Well, love you guys. I will talk to you later in like 45 minutes. So that's literally like less later